There are places on Earth where survival isn't about strength. It's about patience, about reading the sky like a dying language, about knowing when to plant, when to move, when to let the land rest. This is the Sahel, 5,000 kilometers of uncertainty stretched across the throat of Africa, between the Sahara's teeth and the savannah's promise, where rain is a rumor, where every seed is a gamble, where people don't fight nature, they negotiate with it. This isn't a story about conquering the desert. It's about learning its terms. The Sahel receives rain, just not when you need it, not where you need it. Between 200 and 600 millimeters a year, enough to tease life from the soil, but never enough to trust. The soil here is poor, low organic content, thin, fragile. When rain does come, it doesn't soak in. It runs off, taking what little fertility exists with it. This is the paradox. Too much water lost in a land dying of thirst. So the people of the Sahel developed a technology. Simple, brutal, effective. The Zai pit. In Mure, one of the region's languages, it means to hurry up to wake the soil. You dig a small basin into the hardened earth. You fill it with manure, crop residue, anything organic. Then you wait. When rain finally arrives, the pit becomes a reservoir. Water that would have vanished is trapped. It seeps down slowly, pulling nutrients deep into the soil. The organic matter becomes a sponge, a factory, a lifeline. One study in Burkina Faso showed Zai pits can increase yields by 400% compared to unprepared soil. 400% from a hole in the ground and a handful of manure. But here's what matters. This technology doesn't conquer the drought. It doesn't force the land to be something it's not. It works with the scarcity. It accepts the terms. The Sahel also taught its people to harvest what others waste. Every depression becomes a pond. Every slope becomes a canal. Stone lines, cordons, pierrots, slow water runoff. Give it time to sink in. Nothing is accidental. Every intervention is a negotiation with gravity, with evaporation, with time. And then there's the partnership humans, soil, animals. Livestock aren't just food here. They're engineers. Animals fertilize the fields. Their manure returns nitrogen to exhausted soil. They eat crop residue that would otherwise dry and blow away. In return, they gain nutrition. It's a cycle crude, ancient, perfectly calibrated. But technology alone doesn't explain survival here, because the Sahel tests more than your knowledge of soil science. It tests your identity, your philosophy, your willingness to let go. Semi-nomadism, transhumance, clinical terms for a brutal truth. Sometimes you have to leave. Not forever. Just long enough. Move the herds to where the grass still grows. Follow the rain. Return when the land recovers. This isn't failure. It's strategy. In the Sahel, flexibility is survival. Stubbornness is death. And here's what outsiders often miss. Survival here is collective. Western models obsess over individual ownership, individual risk, individual reward. But when rain is a lottery, when drought can erase a year's work in weeks, you can't survive alone. Fields are often shared, labor is pooled, harvests are distributed. Not out of idealism, out of necessity. If your neighbor's field fails and yours succeeds, you share. Because next year, the equation might reverse. Social insurance, mutual aid, call it what you want. It's the invisible technology that makes the visible technologies work. And there's something else, something harder to quantify. The people here know their survival is fragile. That knowledge breeds humility, breeds respect for the land, for water, for seeds. They plant not with certainty, but with hope. They negotiate not from strength, but from realism. And maybe that's the deepest lesson. Uncertainty doesn't paralyze them, it focuses them. The Sahel isn't unique anymore. Climate instability is spreading. Droughts in California, crop failures in India, floods in Pakistan followed by years of dust. The world is becoming Sahel. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of modern agriculture is built on the opposite philosophy. Control, domination, massive irrigation, chemical inputs, monocultures stretching to the horizon. We've been fighting nature and calling it progress. But what happens when the aquifers run dry? When the fertilizers become too expensive? When the climate stops cooperating with our assumptions? The Sahel offers a different model. Not sexy, not scalable in the way corporations understand scale, but resilient, proven over centuries. In Niger, farmers using zai pits and assisted natural regeneration have brought millions of hectares back to life. Trees that were saplings 30 years ago now provide shade, fodder, fruit. Villages that were on the edge of abandonment are thriving. It's not a miracle, it's negotiation. It's working with the land's capacity instead of against its limits. It's accepting that nature has terms and those terms aren't optional. The global conversation about climate adaptation is full of technology proposals, geoengineering, carbon capture, vertical farms. Some might work, but they're expensive, complex, dependent on infrastructure that much of the world doesn't have. Meanwhile, a farmer in the Sahel is solving the same problem with a shovel and a philosophy. Don't demand what the land can't give. Work with what it offers. The Sahel doesn't promise abundance. It never has. But it promises something rarer: continuity. The knowledge that your children will plant where you planted, that the negotiation will continue. We live in an age that worships certainty. Guaranteed yields, controlled environments, engineered outcomes. But certainty is a luxury the Sahel never had. And maybe that's what the rest of the world needs to learn. Survival here isn't about domination. It's about reading the signs, adapting, sharing, letting go when necessary, returning when possible. It's about negotiating with the dust, with the rain, with each other. In the Sahel, they've been preparing for an uncertain future for 1,000 years. The rest of us are just starting to catch up. There are places on Earth where survival isn't about strength. It's about patience. It's about reading the sky like a dying language. This is the Sahel. 5,000 kilometers of uncertainty stretched across the throat of Africa between the Sahara's teeth and the savannah's promise. There is a wound here. It does not bleed, it dries. It spreads southward at a pace that escapes the eye but not the memory. Year by year, the Sahara exhales, and the land forgets it ever held life. But wounds invite mending, and somewhere between desperation and defiance, 20 nations looked at a map and drew a single line. 8,000 kilometers. From Dakar to Djibouti, Atlantic to Red Sea. Not a wall of stone. Not a barrier against an enemy. A living thing, trees, shrubs, the breath of the soil returning to itself. They called it the Great Green Wall. But perhaps its truer name is this: a continent learning to stitch its own skin. The Sahel receives rain. Between 200 and 600 millimeters a year, enough to tease life from the soil, but never enough to trust. The soil is thin, fragile. When rain does come, it doesn't soak in, it runs off, taking what little fertility exists with it. This is the paradox. Too much water lost in a land dying of thirst. So the people developed a technology, simple, brutal, effective. In the villages where the desert once seemed certain, farmers returned to the zai pits, small craters dug into hardened earth, each one a question asked of the land. Will you still receive us? You fill it with manure, with life. When rain arrives, the pit becomes a sponge, a factory, a lifeline. The logic is ancient. It is not engineering. It is negotiation. It is the quiet contract between human need and what the soil can still remember. Now, that logic scales. What healed 1 hectare becomes the template for 1 million. 20 nations, 20 histories, 20 languages, for the word drought. And yet, they share a single understanding. The desert does not respect sovereignty. It crosses borders without papers. It claims the land of nations that never signed treaties with it. So the response, too, must cross borders. This is what the Great Green Wall truly is: not a project, but a collective memory in motion. The memory that the Sahel was once green. Each tree planted is a syllable in a sentence 20 nations are writing together. A sentence that says, "We were here. We chose to remain." There is a moment in a restored field when the wind changes, when the dust that once scoured the skin carries instead the scent of leaves. The Sahel calls this the breath of the soil. The Great Green Wall will never be finished. It is a process, a relationship, a conversation between the human spirit and a climate that demands constant attention. Survival here isn't about domination. It's about reading the signs, negotiating with the dust, with the rain, with each other. In the morning light, when a child walks to school beneath trees that did not exist when her mother was born, this is the only answer the Sahel has ever sought. Not permanence, just presence. The breath continues.